It has been brought to our attention that there is another cartoon drag race Japan. That's right, looks like we were beaten to the punch. Out of respect for their franchise, we will be rebranding. Our show will henceforth be known as Cartoon Drag Race Anime Superstars. Now, get some rest and we'll see you tomorrow.
So no word on the sabotage. Interesting. Guess we'll have to wait and see how things play out. Meow.
Wait, Queens. There is one more thing. I wasn't sure if I should say something, though I've decided I will. Ash, Queens, you've been referring to me as Yu-Gi-Oh, though that's the name of my drag show. My name in drag is Yami Yugi, though Yugi is fine.
Oh dear, well, you heard him Queens, Yugi it is. You're our narrator, Yugi, why didn't you say anything before?
I was happy to roll with it, though since we're rebranding, I've decided you will call me by my proper name.
Honestly, that seems fair. Well Queens, rest up and we'll see you in the morning.
Wow, what a day. We were expecting to find out who sabotaged Death's dress, but it turns out we are rebranding our franchise and calling our judge by his actual name. Yugi seemed pissed. I don't blame him. It's a lot to process. For now, though, it's time to get to some rest and work out how I can upstage Death in the next challenge.
The next morning the Queens leap into the workroom. Olivier says, "Soldiers, keep an eye out for enemy scum." The Queens pretend to battle invisible enemies with Junta and Mewtwo feigning death. Olivier and Esdeath lead the group to victory.
Our entrance this week was a bit of fun. I think we all needed a laugh. With Koopa leaving last week, it's finally dawned on us that there will be eliminations. Last week was definitely a wake-up call for me. After mulling it over last night, I wasn't impressed with myself. Whether it's on the battlefield or performing in drag, I'm someone who always has the courage to face things head-on. Though last week I was passive-aggressive with Mewtwo. That's not who I am, nor who I want to be. I'm determined to address things with Mewtwo this week.
The Queens gather around the workroom table. Olivier congratulates Esdeath and Kay for being in the top and Aomin for winning the episode. Aomin thanks Olivier and says it feels great to be doing well this early in the competition. He looks at Kay and goes to say something but decides not to. Tatsumi turns to Yurio and congratulates him on surviving the lip sync. Yurio thanks him and says he is determined to do well this week.
Last week did not go as planned. I'm feeling frustrated with myself. I don't want the other queens to think I am a joke. I really want to do well. If I am in the bottom this week, I think the judges will send me home.
Yuri congratulates Yurio on surviving the lip sync, though says he is going to miss Koopa's positive energy in the workroom. The Queens cheers to Koopa as Anime Superstars Pork Cutlet Queen.
It's fierce that we've branded our first out as the Pork Cutlet Queen. I'll absolutely be including that in my branding.
I must have missed a joke. What is the reason you were deemed the Pork Cutlet Queen when you were eliminated?
My family owns a hot spring in Japan, and we serve amazing pork cutlet bowls. That's why my talent show was a comedy sketch about making pork cutlet. My mom makes the best pork cutlet, though my husband Victor has learned to make it well. Honestly, I really miss them both.
The Queens continue chatting until the screen turns on and Ash introduces the mini-challenge.
Calling all anime superstars, you've made love to the camera and you've served as your version of love. For the mini-challenge this week, we want to see you express your love through dance.
Bollocks. Dance is not my strong suit.
Dance is absolutely my strong suit. This mini-challenge win is mine.
For this week's mini-challenge, it's time to vogue the house down boots. Now, please follow production out of the studio and come join me on the dance floor.
Production leads the Queens backstage to the dance floor. One by one Ash calls the Queens forward. Tatsumi begins to vogue with lethal precision, getting cheers from Esdeath and Yurio. His confidence is evident and his moves are sharp. Yuri lets loose and moves his body to the beat, making sure to land every move in time. Yurio uses his figure skating moves to leap from pose to pose, using his face to emote his determination to win. L goes last and tries to camp up his voguing performance, though falls flat on his back after trying to do a backbend. The Queens ask if he is okay and he says the only thing bruised is his ego. Ash then tells the Queens to head back into the workroom.
Wow, Queens, your performances were en vogue. Well done, though one of you has really shown up with something to prove this morning. Yurio, congratulations, you're the winner of the mini-challenge.
Finally. About time I won something. even if it's just a mini challenge.
I'm so proud of my protege. If not me, I'm glad it was him.
Yurio, not only do you get a generous tip of 100,000 yen courtesy of our sponsors, Hanake Couture, you also get an advantage for this week's Maxi Challenge. Queens, this week you're set to star in Skate the Infinity and Beyond, the unauthorized skateboarding musical. Yurio, as the winner of the mini challenge, you get to assign the parts.
Yes. Awesome. My protege is assigning the parts. I'm sure I will get a good role. I'm also an ace at skateboarding. I do hope we will actually be skating on that runway. This challenge is mine.
Sweet Holy Mother of God. Dancing is not my strong suit, nor is balance. If we are expected to skate during the Yusical, I fear for my life.
Yurio, will you play fair in assigning the roles? I guess time will tell. But Queens, there is one more thing I must discuss with you, and it's on a serious note. We were informed by a queen last night that Yuri's dress was sabotaged before the runway. When we went through the footage from week 1 and week 2, we found that the critical video footage had been corrupted. As such, we don't yet know who the culprit is. Queens, I want to emphasize again, this kind of behavior is not acceptable. We ask that whoever is doing this please cease and desist so we can move on with the competition. Queens, keep your eyes open and please keep a close eye on your dresses this week.
Trust me, my eyes are wide open. As soon as I find the asshole that sabotaged Yuri and my dress, it's over for them.
What is it you'll do to them?
I'll give them an ice enema, if you catch my drift.
Ash leaves the workroom and the queens begin to discuss who should play who in the Yusical. Yurio reads aloud that the Yusical covers the rise of skateboarding in Japan and follows a group of talented skaters as they aim to defeat Adam, the matador of love and an undefeated skater, while trying to avoid being shut down by local police. Esdeath and Junta say simultaneously they would like to play Adam.
Oh, wonderful. Of course she wants the role. Adam is an iconic villain in the Yusical, and I want to show the judges that I am versatile. In an acting sense, of course. I'm ready to fight for the role.
Oh, wonderful. Another chance for me to defeat Junta. I relish it. He thinks he can beat me for this role? Doubtful. Adam is a villain of love. Do you think that when you look at Junta? Please, don't make me laugh.
The queens look at each other and Daijin smiles with glee. He says that if they both want the role so badly, they should audition for it. Esdeath's eyes twinkle and Junta stands up with determination. They put on their most villainous voices, but Esdeath is able to serve both love and menace at the same time. The queens vote and all but Daijin vote for Esdeath to be Adam.
Naturally. If it's correct, it's correct. Junta. Better luck next time, sweetie.
Damn it. I want to wipe that smug look off her face. I'm grateful Daijin had my back and voted for me to get the part. I'll just have to outdo her in the Yusical.
Junta accepts defeat and asks if he can play Joe, one of the top skaters. Yurio asks if there are any objections. When no one says anything, he gives Junta the role. Yurio comments that Reki and Lenga appear to be the main characters and best friends, and have the most lines. He says whoever takes them will either need to kill it or risk being in the bottom. Aomin says he would like to be Reki. Yurio nods. Kei pipes up to say he would like to be Lenga as he knows he and Aomin work well together. Yuri says he would also like to be Lenga as he wants to ride the momentum and push for a win this week. Aomin says he sees Yuri as a better choice for Lenga than Kei. Kei is taken aback and momentarily lost for words.
What the hell was that? Aomin and I were getting on great last week, and then he throws me under the bus. I don't understand. He's been acting weird all morning and hasn't had anything to do with me.
I was a bit surprised that Aomin didn't want to work with Kei again. Though I'll take it, because I really want to do well this week, and I'm willing to put it all on the line.
Yurio asks if the queens want to audition for the role, but Kei says he is happy to let Yuri have it. There is an uncomfortable pause before Yurio goes back to assigning roles.
Oh, Aomin's rejection of Kei. Delicious. Why have enemies when you have friends like that?
Yurio asks who would like to play the other top skaters, Shadow, Mia, and Cherry. Mewtwo asks if he can play Cherry and Yurio says, sure. Olivier asks Yurio if he's going to pick a role for himself, as he has the power to assign the roles. Yurio looks panicked for a moment and says he will play Mia, the young but talented skateboarder.
I wanted to play fair and let everyone choose their roles. But I totally forgot to assign myself one. Mia is okay, but I'm basically playing me if I were a skater. I hope the judges don't read me for playing it too safe.
Tatsumi asks if he can play Shadow, the edgy, overly enthusiastic skater. Yurio says sure and puts Tatsumi down for the role.
That's my Brodo J. This week I'm playing a different character from myself. He's edgy and, as a certain sewage queen turned queen of the world would say, he comes across as almost a spooky drag queen. I am ready for my first win.
Olivier asks if she can play the police officer dedicated to bringing down Adam. Daijin jumps in and asks if he can play Adam's 3 villainous ant-advisors, and L asks if he can play Tadashi, Adam's right-hand man. Yurio says sure and says that leaves Kei with the role of the store owner. Kei's face drops but he says, sure. Aomin winces and looks down.
Boss, meet Kei. God, I feel terrible. I was on such a high from last week and I thought Aomin and I were getting along great. I'm not sure why he didn't support me when I said I wanted to play Langa. I'm trying not to be negative about it, but it's hard.
Is this the moment where production asks you to reveal your tragic backstory?
I mean, sure, I guess. I might as well say this on national television. Here goes. For years I have been a high-level volleyball player, but I always found it hard to motivate myself. I didn't really see the point in hard work because my brother put in a ton of practice only to be a bench warmer for Karasuno. I spent years relying on my natural talent and not giving a shit about anyone. Eventually, I realized that hard work paid off and I became a good volleyball player. But my cynical attitude meant I had few close friends in the volleyball world. That's why I started doing drag, to find a sense of community. I performed night after night at the local drag bar, but due to my quiet nature, I was always put on between skilled performers or as a warm-up act. I soon became disillusioned with the whole thing and got quite depressed. Depression is something I've been learning to manage, through the help of a psychologist. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, I got contacted by Yugi and Ash to participate in Drag Race Anime Superstars. I was thrilled. Production informed me, though, that a queen had dropped out and that I was brought in as a backup queen. I can't tell you how deflated I was. It made me think I wasn't good enough to get the call. That's why I was so cynical in week 1. But then last week, Aomin and I hit it off and I thought I had maybe a friend or more. Now I'm wondering if that was all an act. I'm trying not to be cynical about it, but it's, making me feel quite upset.
Kei takes a moment and wipes away tears.
I'm sorry that happened to you. For what it's worth, only a talented drag queen would make it onto Cartoon Drag Race Anime Superstars.
Kei chokes out a thank you to the producer but continues to sob. The producer, unsure what to do, grabs Ash from backstage. He informs Ash about what is going on and Ash comes into the confessional booth. Kei holds back tears and looks down, trying to hide his face.
Kei, our producer, Edward, has told me what's going on. I'm sorry to hear you're feeling the way you do. I know it can be hard, especially when you feel like you're on your own. What you've said in this confessional takes a lot of bravery and I'm sure many of our viewers will resonate with your message. Kei, for what it's worth, you are an amazing drag queen and are worthy of success. We think you're absolutely sickening and don't you ever doubt it.
Kei thanks Ash. Ash asks if it is okay for him to give Kei a hug. Kei says sure. Ash gives him a hug and Kei continues to sob. After some time, Kei begins to relax. Ash asks Kei if he is feeling okay and is ready to rejoin the others in the workroom. Kei smiles at Ash and says he is ready to get back and slay the Yusical. Ash says that's the spirit and the two walk out of the confessional booth together. The queens will be playing the following characters in the Yusical. Aomin will play Reki, a talented skater and Langa's best friend. Yuri will play Langa, Reki's best friend and snowboarder turned skateboarding prodigy. The rival skaters will be played by Tatsumi as Shadow, Yurio as Mia, Junta as Joe and Mewtwo as Cherry. Kei will play Shokichi, a well-meaning store manager who employs Reki and Langa. Esdeath will play the villainous skater, Adam, while Daijin will play Adam's 3 ants and L will play Adam's right-hand man, Tadashi. Olivier will play Kuroko, a police officer dedicated to bringing Adam down. The queens begin rehearsing together, taking it in turns to record their verses and learn the choreography. Aomin and Yuri are practicing their lines together when Kei approaches. Kei asks if he can join them as his only 2 scenes are with Aomin and Yuri. Kei tries to avoid making eye contact with Aomin.
I feel terrible. I can see Kei's upset and I didn't intend to hurt him. I've been feeling on edge all morning and I can't quite work out why, but when Kei said he wanted to play Langa I totally panicked. I'm getting these lines down okay, but I can't look at Kei without feeling a pang of guilt. I'll need to address it at some point, but now doesn't seem the time.
Look, it is what it is. Ash is right. I may only get one shot at anime superstars, and I'm here for me, so I'm going to focus and do my best. I'm leaving it all on the stage. If Aomin wants to address things he can, if not, I won't pay him any mind.
Elsewhere, Yurio, Mewtwo, Junta, Tatsumi and Esdeath are recording their lines. Esdeath goes first, recording her lines as Adam. She manages to embody both love and menace in her lines, serving a villain face card while she performs. Yurio and Mewtwo cheer for her, though Junta scowls. Tatsumi, noticing Junta's reaction, cheers loudly for Esdeath. Junta whips his head around and gives Tatsumi a glare.
It seems Junta is annoyed that Esdeath is serving as Adam. It makes sense he would be jealous. Esdeath is a talented actress, while Junta's about as expressive as two wooden planks.
He said I was as expressive as two wooden planks? Wow, it must have taken a lot of brain power to come up with that one, Tatsumi. Couldn't be more cliché if he tried.
I'm cliché? Such a strong clapback, Junta. You're just jealous because I'm relevant. Actor, singer, model, sexiest man of 2024, and future winner of Cartoon Drag Race Anime Superstars. That's me. Junta. Well, he has one thing going for him. He'll make a lovely second out.
Esdeath joins the other queens and Junta goes up to record his verse. Clearly frustrated, he stumbles through his first few takes. Tatsumi lets loose a muffled laugh and Junta appears visibly irritated. Esdeath looks over at Tatsumi and Tatsumi winks at her.
Tatsumi is trouble. I love it. I must say, my heart did flutter when he winked at me. I wonder, could our love story begin on the set of Anime Superstars?
As Yurio and Mewtwo go up to record their verse, Esdeath makes conversation with Tatsumi. He doesn't seem as interested in talking with Esdeath until he notices Junta getting progressively more annoyed. Tatsumi turns on his charm and begins flirting with Esdeath. Esdeath flirts back and Tatsumi periodically shoots Junta a mocking glance.
Tatsumi is a and that's all there is to it. I will happily be the one to send him home.
Wow, Junta, did you kiss your mother with that mouth? The only thing you'll be kissing during the Yusical is the ground at my feet. Watch how a professional slays a verse.
Tatsumi goes up and records his verse. Tatsumi impresses the production crew as he completes the verse in one take.
They don't call me one take Tatsumi for no reason. I'm such an icon. The look on Junta's face, priceless.
Wow, Tatsumi is so talented. I did tell him to rein in the teasing of Junta, as it was getting a bit much. Tatsumi seemed taken aback for a moment and did what I asked. He needs a firm hand is all. I think he likes it. Maybe romance is on the cards, after all.
After having gotten into their Yusical costumes, L, Daijin and Esdeath do some last-minute dance practice. Esdeath and Daijin nail the choreography, while L still appears lost. With time running out, Esdeath explains to L that he needs to pick up the choreo quickly, otherwise it's going to make all three of them look bad. L apologizes to them, saying that choreography really isn't his strong suit. Esdeath says now is not the time for excuses and he needs to make it work.
Ouch! Well, the good news is I am not going home today. We're on stage in less than 5 minutes and Elle is still learning the choreo. He is all over the place. Even Esdeath taking him through the moves isn't enough. Elle is a Yusical disaster. I'm kind of living.
I can see Esdeath's point, I just can't pick up the choreo, especially in such a short time. While I know it's not the best mentality to have going into the challenge, I've been practicing the lip sync song this morning so that I can give a good performance.
Production informs the Queen's time is almost up and they need to get into their costumes to get on stage. Esdeath, Elle and Daijin hear shouting coming from the workroom and stop their practice. Esdeath, Elle and Daijin rush into the workroom to see what is going on. They notice that there is a giant cut in Junta's runway and he appears to be shouting at Tatsumi. Junta says that this sabotage has Tatsumi written all over it. Tatsumi shrugs this off, saying that Junta probably just sabotaged his own dress for the screen time. Junta presses Tatsumi into the wall and tells him he's had enough of Tatsumi's bullshit and that he needs to come clean now. Junta says first Esdeath, then Yuri and then Junta. It's so obvious it is Tatsumi. Tatsumi tries to push past Junta, who continues to press his hand against the wall, blocking Tatsumi.
Yes, I'm starting to crack. I'm just sick of the mind games. I've reached my breaking point.
Olivier and Mewtwo run over and work together to defuse the situation. Olivier tells Junta to calm down. If it is Tatsumi, then they need clear evidence. Mewtwo escorts Tatsumi to the other side of the room. Tatsumi cracks a joke about Junta losing it. Mewtwo's eyes glow purple and they tell Tatsumi to stop messing around and tell them the truth. Tatsumi's grin drops and he says he didn't sabotage Junta. Mewtwo's eyes go a deeper purple and says that if Tatsumi knows something he better come forward and say it. Tatsumi hesitates for a moment, then says he's known all along who sabotaged the other queens. Mewtwo says the time to reveal this is now. Tatsumi hesitates and looks at Daijin. Tatsumi says he saw Daijin sabotage Esdeath day 1 and suspects he sabotaged Yuri last week. Esdeath turns her head sharply to Daijin, appears lost for words. Esdeath demands to know whether this is true and Daijin remains speechless. Esdeath marches over to Daijin's table and sees a pair of scissors with a thin thread caught in the scissors. She goes over to Junta's dress and the thread appears to match. The entire workroom turns their attention to Daijin, who says nothing.
I'm going to end that cat. If production doesn't get rid of him this week, trust me, he won't go much further in this competition.
I'm lost for words. I don't know what to say. Did I sabotage people's dresses these last 3 weeks? Good luck proving it.
I don't buy it. Esdeath and Yuri, sure, though Junta. Daijin and Junta are obviously close, even if neither one has made that public knowledge. Plus, why would Daijin be so careless to leave the scissors at his station?
Esdeath looks coldly at Daijin and says she'll deal with him after the Yusical. Esdeath asks Junta if he needs help repairing his dress for the runway. Junta says that he's fine, he's got it. Esdeath says that even though they have a rivalry, she doesn't want to see him suffer because of Daijin. Junta says he's fine and that he doesn't want her help. Mewtwo steps in and says Esdeath is right, though can understand why he doesn't want her help. Mewtwo says they've done lots of last-minute repairs for queens and they would like to help Junta. Junta hesitates but accepts the help. Mewtwo and Junta quickly repair the dress and production tells them to get ready for the Yusical. The queens all get ready for the performance, giving Daijin the cold shoulder.
Welcome to the main stage of Cartoon Drag Race Anime Superstars. I'm your extra special guest star and Pork Cutlet Queen. Ash, Yugi, thanks for inviting me back.
It's our pleasure, Koopa. We're thrilled to have you here. Say, do you have a joke for us?
Sure. Why don't Koopas last long in bed?
Oh gosh, why?
Because once they're flipped over, it's game over for them.
Oh my gosh, Yugi, these guest judges are killing me.
Me too, Ash. I am Yami Yugi and I approve this joke.
Does that mean I'm the winner of today's challenge?
Koopa, congratulations, you're the winner of today's challenge.
Really?
No, but that was a good joke.
Fair. The queens were asked to slay in Cartoon Drag Race Anime Superstars' first Yusical. Get it? You as in Yugi. Oh, they got the joke? Okay, I'll carry on. And on the runway, category is Genderbender Drag. Queens, start your engines, and may the best queen win.
Esdeath and Yuri slayed the challenge.
Are you surprised, world? Even the revelation about Daijin wasn't enough to stop me from slaying this challenge. And wait until you see my runway. It's over for the other queens.
I am so proud of myself. I was opposite in the entire Yusical and he's fierce, so to perform well against him makes me proud.
Aomin, Tatsumi, and Kei did great in the challenge.
I'm proud of myself. While I was a little in my head, I was able to stay grounded. I had a small role, but I put in the effort. Going forward, I'm going to give this competition everything I've got.
Another day, another slay. I matched Shadow's chaotic energy. I hit every joke and Yugi couldn't stop laughing. And guess who isn't going to be in the top this week? Junta. It feels correct.
Yurio, Junta, Mewtwo and Olivier had a good performance in the challenge.
I am so off this week. Between the sabotage of my dress and Tatsumi's taunting throughout the day, I'm cracked. I'm annoyed at myself. I'm letting the stress of this competition get to me, and it's showing. I am hoping I avoid the lip sync this week, though I'm worried to say the least.
I did okay. I could say that the altercation with Daijin threw me off before the performance, and it did. But more than that, I think I'm having trouble getting momentum in this competition. I've got very high standards for myself, and I think they're getting in the way of me just enjoying the competition.
Elle and Daijin had a bad performance.
Let's start the lip sync. I am ready.
That performance was a disaster. I was playing Adam's Three Aunts, which should have been iconic. I was so thrown off from the discussion in the workroom that I forgot all my lines. The judges will think I didn't know the words. It's all coming crashing down around me.
Mewtwo and Elle slayed the runway.
This non-binary queen sauntered down the runway serving gender-bender realness. My look was a seamless fusion of masculine and feminine energy, half sleek, tailored suit, half ethereal, flowing gown, with a high glamour face and a sharp, otherworldly presence.
Esdeath, Aomin and Yurio had a great runway.
Gender bender. Please. I've been blurring lines before half these queens even learned to contour. You think I can't rock heels and still kick your ass? Watch me. This look is fierce, untamed, and exactly what I feel like wearing. No rules, no labels, just pure unfiltered Yurio. So stay mad or step aside. I've stepped up my game this week.
Yuri, Tatsumi, Olivier, Junta and Daijin had a good runway. Kei had a bad runway. Queens, it's been a big week. We've lots to unpack, but first, please welcome our other extra special guest judge, Langa. Langa, you were late on set, are you okay?
Oh, yes, sorry. My buddy Reki has just given his audition for Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 3 and I was calling to congratulate him. If you haven't already voted, please go and do so.
Do you think we can entice you onto Cartoon Drag Race Anime Superstars Season 2?
Is that a formal invitation? If so, I accept.
Wonderful. You and Mew will hear from us. Now let the judging commence. Junta, Yurio, Kei, Olivier, you're safe. Junta and Olivier, you've been safe for 3 weeks now. Are you going to be some safe Millas or will you step up your performance?
I have no idea what a safe Miller is, but it doesn't sound good. I think Junta had a lucky escape this week. He'll be gone next week for sure.
Gosh, Yugi really doesn't hold back. Message received loud and clear. Time to step it up.
Yurio, we saw an improvement this week. Keep up the momentum. Kei, your runway was what let you down, your challenge performance was iconic. Just a reminder, Kei, you're an absolutely sickening queen and keep telling it to yourself until you believe it. Safe queens, you may move to the back of the stage.
A step in the right direction. I'm going to ride this momentum.
Wow. I wasn't expecting this kind of praise from Ash and Yugi. I'm going to try and believe in myself more going forward. It's not my natural state, though I know change is possible.
Queens, that means you represent the tops and bottoms of the week. Koopa has asked if she can read out the top placements as her good Judy, Yuri, is in the top this week. Ash and I have agreed to this. Over to you, Koopa.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, Yugi. Here's the judge's feedback. Tatsumi, you really slayed this Yusical as Shadow. We thought your chaotic energy was a nice departure from your confident and composed manner. Well done. You're safe.
Yes, a top placement. Are you surprised? I'm not. Next week, I'll snatch that win.
Oh, Min. Langa said your Reki was uncanny. You're also safe. You may step to the back of the stage. That means Yuri and Esdeath. You're our top 2 queens of the week. Yuri, the judges love seeing you play Langa in front of Langa. You've done yourself and the world proud. Esdeath. Wow. Just wow. The judges want you to know, you just have that it factor. Esdeath, congratulations. You're the winner of this week's challenge.
What a euphoric feeling. Good luck stopping me now that I have a win.
That means Elle, Daijin and Mewtwo, you're the bottom queens of the week. Mewtwo, stop relying on that runway. Please give us more. You're safe. Though only just.
It's frustrating. I came into this competition thinking I would ace performance-based challenges, but so far I'm 0 from 2. My runway was stunning, but my performance as Cherry was easily outshined. I'm scrambling to work out how to get back to the top.
Elle, you know what critique we're going to give you. Dance isn't your strong suit. All I can say is try to hide it by going bigger with your character. Now, this brings us to Daijin. I've been informed that scissors were found in your workstation with a thread from Junta's dress. We've also looked at the past footage and we suspect you didn't clean up all your peanuts after your talent show. Perhaps that is what got stuck in Yurio's stiletto during his talent show. What do you have to say for yourself?
Judges, I bring the drama every week. That's my brand and that's who I am. I won't deny.
Daijin, I'm going to cut you off. Drama is also in Tatsumi, Esdeath and Junta's brand, and you don't see them sabotaging other queens for screen time. Don't give us that bullshit.
Judges, I'm lost for words. I'll admit to the peanuts, I left them on stage, though I didn't expect they would actually sabotage someone. As for the dresses, I live for the drama, though I didn't create it.
Be that as it may, you've admitted to the peanuts and you didn't know the words in the challenge this week. I guess we'll see if the sabotages continue next week. For now, if you want to stay, show us your fire and we'll consider it.
This is not an ideal situation I find myself in. My only choice is to lip sync my way out of this. Did I sabotage the dresses? Guess you'll only find out if I win the lip sync.
Queens, this week you were asked to prepare a lip sync to Paradise by Rude Alpha, the official theme song to Skate the Infinity. Queens, good luck, and don't fuck it up. Elle had a good lip sync. Daijin had a bad lip sync. Elle, Shantae, you stay. You may join the other queens.
Thank God. I sincerely hope that is the last dance challenge until the end of the season.
Daijin, consider this an expensive lesson for a fierce queen. We live for the drama, though not at the expense of other queens. Let this be a warning to anyone who dares sabotage our queens. Lola, Celestia, may canker, not on our watch. Daijin, we wish you all the best. Now, sashay away.
This is not how I saw my end. I still have more to show. Well, the die is cast and such is life.
Daijin thanks the judges for the opportunity and begins to move to the back of the stage. Junta moves quickly across the stage and kneels down in front of Daijin. He asks Daijin if he did it, to which Daijin says he would never sabotage Junta. Junta holds back tears. He gives Daijin a hug and moves back to his position. Daijin takes his stance.
The door may be closing, but trust, I'll always find another way in.
Junta lets out a chuckle, though the other queens remain silent, unsure how to react. Esdeath tells Daijin not to let the door hit him on the way out. Junta glares at Esdeath, who gives him an icy glare. Yugi tells the queens that they can now untuck backstage and then turn in for the night. As soon as the queens enter untucked, Junta immediately turns to face Esdeath and Tatsumi. He says that there is no way Daijin sabotaged any of the queens here. Yurio immediately cuts in, saying that Daijin left peanuts on the stage, which sabotaged his talent show. Junta claps back that many people left bits of their talent show, including pieces of pork cutlet, gesturing to Yuri. Esdeath cuts in and tells Junta to keep Yuri's name out of this and says that it's obvious Daijin was behind the sabotage. Tatsumi says he agrees with Esdeath and Junta immediately claps back that Tatsumi should stop being Esdeath's lapdog and butt out.
Give me a break, Tatsumi. I'm so angry. My best friend in this competition has been set up and the queens want to tarnish his reputation. I mean, it was my dress that was sabotaged, for goodness sake.
Tatsumi laughs and says to Junta that he's delusional, as always. Junta gets up and clenches his hands into a fist and Aomin steps in. He tells Junta not to do anything stupid. Tatsumi says that will be hard for Junta and Esdeath turns to Tatsumi, telling him to shut the hell up. Tatsumi, shocked, backs down. Esdeath says she needs some air and leaves untucked and Aomin takes Junta out of untucked.
Well, that escalated quickly. Gosh. I decided to go and check on Esdeath as she has been kind to me the last few weeks. It's rare to see her so cracked. Obviously, this is getting to her. And we didn't get to congratulate her on her win. That's a shame.
Yuri finds Esdeath in a garden outside the studio. Esdeath is taking long, deep breaths. Yuri asks her if she is okay and she jumps. She takes a breath and tells him it was getting a bit much in there. Esdeath says she is happy to have gotten a win, but she feels intense anger towards Daijin. Yuri says he understands how she feels and he feels upset also. Esdeath nods and says that what's done is done, she will never have to see Daijin again. Yuri nods. After a pause he says congratulations on her win. She thanks him and says it was close and he deserves praise also. He shakes his head to protest but she tells him to take the compliment. She says she is proud of how he's done these last 2 weeks. Yuri thanks her and says that means a lot coming from her. Esdeath asks if he has a drag family back home, to which Yuri says he does not. Esdeath says it's a little unconventional for her to offer this, but she asks if he wants to be her drag son. Yuri is immediately taken aback and stammers through his words. He thanks Esdeath, unsure what to say. She says she doesn't have much of a drag family, though feels a strange connection with Yuri. Yuri laughs and says he feels the same way, accepting her offer. Esdeath's mood changes and she delightedly proclaims him her drag son, General Katsuki. Yuri's eyes light up and he says he is changing his drag name immediately, which makes Esdeath laugh. Aomin takes Junta to the workroom and tells him to take a moment to compose himself. Junta says he can't compose himself as he's too upset. Aomin tells Junta to let it out and Aomin will listen. Junta hesitates for a moment before launching into an angry rant about how unfair Daijin's elimination was, how much Tatsumi and Esdeath are getting under his skin and how really he's feeling cracked because he's not doing well in the competition. Junta sits down on a stool, looking defeated. Aomin gives Junta a sizable pause before clasping him on the shoulder and saying, "That's rough, buddy." Junta looks at him incredulously and his mouth begins to twitch. Aomin gives him a playful grin and Junta begins to laugh hysterically.
Okay, even I have to admit that was funny. That was such a ridiculous thing to say but somehow snapped me right out of my doom spiral.
Junta smiles at Aomin and thanks him. Aomin says, "Anytime." Aomin inquires whether he can ask something on a more personal note. Junta raises an eyebrow and says, "Sure." Aomin asks how Junta knew he was gay. Junta raises his eyebrow again. He says that when he was at camp in high school he noticed that his heart started to race when his roommates were shirtless or in a tank top. Aomin says that makes sense. Junta takes a pause and asks Aomin why he's asking about that. Aomin says, "No reason." Aomin follows up by asking Junta how he confessed his feelings to Junta's husband, Takato. Junta notices that Kei has followed Aomin and Junta into the workroom. Aomin notices and his eyes go wide and he begins to sweat. Junta turns to Aomin and says that he just came out with it, consequences be damned, then leaves the two of them in the room. Kei looks at Aomin and a silence falls between them. Aomin looks at Kei, as if willing himself to speak. The two lock eyes and the words rush out from Aomin. He says he is so sorry for everything that happened today and that he's been a terrible friend and he would understand if Kei didn't forgive him. Aomin explains he's been very in his head because he feels an unusual connection with Kei that he's never felt before for a guy or girl. Aomin is stopped as Kei closes the gap between them and tells him to shut up. Kei leans forward and kisses Aomin. Aomin pulls back, shocked, though leans forward and the two continue to kiss. Production decide to stop rolling after several minutes.